The Winter Watcher. In the remote alpine village of Gurntal, December brought an unnatural chill. The villagers whispered of Krampus, the horned beast who stalked the wicked during the Advent season. Most dismissed these tales as folklore, but the older residents warned that the creature was very real. They spoke of icy footprints on doorsteps and distant bells ringing in the dead of night. Amelie, a young woman who had recently moved to Gurntal, dismissed the warnings. She had come to the village to escape the bustling city. Seeking peace and quiet, one evening, while exploring the snow-covered woods, she stumbled upon an ancient stone shrine. Its surface was etched with strange, runic symbols. A broken plaque nearby read to appease the Winter Watcher. Amelie's unease grew as she noticed claw-like marks gouged into the surrounding trees. Dismissing it as the work of bears, she returned home. But her dreams that night were plagued by flickering visions of glowing red eyes and the sound of chains dragging through the snow. The next morning, she found claw marks on her own door and a single, muddy hoof print on the icy steps leading to her cabin. The bells rang faintly in the distance, their eerie melody sending a shiver down her spine. Amelie couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Her friends in the village, though friendly, became increasingly evasive when she mentioned her experiences. The tavern keeper, an elderly man with a perpetually furrowed brow, finally broke his silence. "Leave an offering," he urged. "Krampus does not forget." That night, Amelie decided to, armed with a flashlight and a sense of defiance, she returned to the shrine. Snow fell in thick, silent flakes, muffling the world around her. The forest seemed to come alive, branches creaked like skeletal fingers, and shadows darted just out of sight, reaching the shrine. She saw something that froze her blood, a burlap sack lying open on the ground. Its contents spilled across the snow. Children's toys, broken and aged, lay scattered around. The sight was almost too much, but before she could turn back, the sound of heavy breathing filled the air. Turning, she saw him. Krampus stood taller than any man, his twisted horns scraping the low-hanging branches. His crimson eyes burned with malice, and chains clinked around his clawed hands. Amelie ran, the beast's guttural growl echoing behind her. The chase was relentless, her breaths clouding in the freezing air as she stumbled through the snow. Just as she reached her cabin, she turned to see nothing but empty woods. Yet the hoof prints in the snow told her he had been close to close. The bells grew louder each night, their chime an ominous countdown. Amelie barricaded herself inside her cabin, but the feeling of impending doom pressed heavily upon her. Finally, on the eve of St. Nicholas Day, she decided to confront her fate. She left a small offering at the shrine, a locket containing her late mother's photo, the most precious thing she owned, as she placed the locket on the altar. The forest grew unnaturally silent, the shadows seemed to retract, and for a moment Amelie felt hope, but the silence was broken by a low growl behind her. Turning slowly, she met Krampus' gaze. "Why me?" she whispered, her voice trembling. The beast's guttural laugh chilled her to the core. "Not why," he rasped, his voice like the grinding of stones, but when. In one swift motion, Krampus lunged. Amelie screamed, her vision filling with darkness. When she awoke, she was back in her cabin, unharmed but forever changed. The claw marks on her door were gone, and the hoof prints in the snow had vanished. The villagers noticed her transformation. She became quieter, more withdrawn. When asked, she would only say, "Krampus spares no one, he only waits." Each December, she leaves an offering at the shrine, hoping that Krampus' wrath will never again darken her door. But the bells still ring in the night, a haunting reminder that the Winter Watcher is always near.